How's the hand? I didn't know that story until I read the book.
It's gone. You can see it's missing.
So
That's pretty good, wasn't it?
So how did you were in rehab, and you fell asleep in a chair? In your hand or your arm fell asleep and it pinched a nerve?
I had my arm over the back of a chair like this, kind of like if I had it over the back of the couch right now, and my bicep right on the inside of this bone right there, there's a little nerve, and it got pressed on the back of the chair, and it was like a drinking straw that you chew on, and it got crunched, and the nerve is about 4 millimeters around, so it got all crushed, and it needed to grow back, and it grows a millimeter a month, so it took 4 months for the nerve to grow back, and then there was the physical therapy that followed that. I had to do 13 months of picking up needles with a tweezer and sticking it into a pegboard and turning a doorknob left and right, and then doing other stuff, going into a gym to learn how to do curls again. And you have to start with the lightest weight. You know what color that weight is? It's pink. Okay? So I'm in the friggin' gym and my friends are sitting there watching me curl with pink dumbbells, and I'm thinking, don't say a word, I'll meet you in the parking lot. My right arm's still good. So is my gas pedal. And I got through it, and it was 17 months after I'd injured my arm till I picked up a guitar again.
17 months.
Yeah. And that's a long time. When you are a guitar player or are a anything, fill in the blank, to have that taken away from you, it's devastating. Because there are people who play guitar, but if that's what your sole vocation is, and it's such a part of you that you almost feel like you've been handicapped to not be able to play it. That's how I felt, completely 100% handicapped, and it changed my opinion and my perspective of handicapped people. After that, had happened, I was pretty, I don't know how you would say this, but perturbed to the way that people look at handicapped people. I was at a place, and I came around the corner, and I saw some of my friends kind of making fun of my hand, and consequently the guy's out of the picture because it just was really insensitive. And I may on the outside appear like I'm a badass, but I'm a very sentimental person, and watching something like that, even if it wasn't me making fun of a handicapped person like that, it's just very weak.
I can't imagine the fear that you must have felt over those 4 months.
It was scary. The thing that's funny is if anything would have happened to me anywhere else, disfiguring injury to my face, or losing a leg or something. Yeah, it was this hand. It was the left hand, the moneymaker, and it was pretty frightening because if it would have been the right hand, I would have duct taped a pick to my hand and kept swinging it or done something. But I think that's what God wanted me to see, was to take a step back, and the only way that was going to happen is to touch the fret hand.
Okay, let's get back to the issues of faith. Last week, some Jehovah's Witnesses came to my door. You were raised Jehovah's Witnesses. Didn't work out so well as a kid. What is your relationship with that sect now?
I don't identify as a Jehovah's Witness. Sadly, my family's still Jehovah's Witnesses, and it breaks my heart because it's a cult.
You hit bottom after all this time in rehab, and the thing that really turned it around for you was this religious reawakening. Can you talk about that? It was like, what else have you got to lose? Was that the sort of...
Well, yeah, I was standing on a hill in Texas, and I saw a cross, and that's when I looked at it, and I thought, I was brought up Lutheran. I went through all this stuff, the indoctrination of Jehovah's Witnesses, and not being able to have birthday parties, and not being able to say the Pledge of Allegiance to the country that I lived in, and not being able to have any friends, and that torment that took place with me growing up, and getting to act out against my mom for moving out on me when I was 15 because of her religion, and going so far overboard into the witchcraft and the black magic and stuff, and then finding God again. That's the irony of this whole thing. So my personal feeling is that looking at religion, how it plays into music, there are so many people that are narrow-minded about heavy metal. They think it's all doom and gloom and
black magic and Satanism.
Right, and you know, if you look at my lyrics, the first line of one of our most popular songs is "Peace sells, but who's buying?" It starts off, "What do you mean I don't believe in God? I talk to Him every day." You know, and people they don't think about that line, and that was the most confessing thing that I could ever say, because, you know, I didn't realize God was all I needed until He was all I had, and you know, sitting there, you know, when you're homeless, thinking, God, I've got a record out and I don't have anything to eat. You know, and you're just saying, you know, to yourself, how can this be possible? Calling up the record company and having them tell you, get a job, you know, and you're just thinking, this is not how I thought my life was going to turn out, you know, and then you get to that crossroad, you know, where you have to make up your mind what you're going to do. And I made the tough decision to stand up for what I believe in, and to sing about, you know, what really matters to me. Sometimes it's a little doom and gloomy, but it's always kind of like Aesop, where there's a moral at the end of it.
How does that? I mean, you're on tour now with Slayer.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be pretty tolerant too of, or at least understanding of what's going on around you, because I'm sure in the metal community you're going to run across people who are exactly the opposite,
mm-hmm.
and believe, you know, exactly the opposite of what you do, in
mm-hmm.
as far as God is concerned.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's I'm going to run into that anywhere. You know, there's going to be people who, you know, my mom's Jewish, so I'm a Messianic Jew is what you would call me, and what I believe is very simply, I believe in God and I believe in Jesus, and I don't push that on anybody. I don't bring it up unless somebody asks me about it. It's not my place to condemn you or to tell you how to live your life, because, I mean, I've done some really questionable things. So I think if anybody needed to have a life-changing event take place, it was me, because of the road I was heading on. You know, I mean, dying and coming back to life is a pretty good, you know, convincer that you're doing something wrong. So I think that those are the things that I tried to share in the book that a lot of people don't really know about.
Is the book a confession? Is it a piece of advice? Is it a cautionary tale?
It's a tale of victory over, you know, and something showing that no matter what your adversities are, that if you keep yourself focused and if you do the right thing, no matter what the cost is, that in the long run, you know, you're going to win out. And it's just a series of making one right decision after another. You know, it has almost a vacuum effect, and it will, once you start making those right decisions, you're going to watch, you know, your whole life change. For me, you see how my career changed, and it was funny, because when I was really out there, really doing the hard drugs and stuff, the caliber of my friends started to change, and when the cocaine started to become really prevalent, it was weird, because you can almost tell how the caliber of people I was hanging out with, because they had less teeth as you would go along, you know. And then once I started to clean my life up, these people just, they went away. They went away. And it's not that I have anything against people who do drugs or anything like that, because, you know, I was in that place before. But I tend to look at it like this. If somebody doesn't address the emotional pain of why people get high, you know, they're never going to be set free from that bondage. And for me, I found the answers that I was looking for when I changed my life. It took a lot of soul searching, and there was a lot of ugly stuff that was revealed when I changed my life. But, you know, once I got past the visual part and the making amends with people, it's been really enjoyable right now. I am completely here right now watching what's happening in my career. And when Countdown came out, it was #2 in America. I was so pissed off that they let a cowboy get into the pop charts.
Billy Ray Cyrus.
I did not even get to enjoy us being the top rock record in the nation. I was so going like, how'd you let that hillbilly on the charts, you know, fill in the blank there. But, you know, I just, that's all I could think about. And before you know it, the week was over, and it started to do like all records do. It went down the chart, and from that point on, you know, we've had a lot of top 10 records in Billboard charts in America, but nothing like Countdown. And I missed it, because my focus, it was fragmented. I didn't have good management over the course of my career. I've got good management now, but I mean, even still, you have disagreements. And if you don't have somebody who can explain stuff to you, you're just going to go off of your gut, and sometimes your gut's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know when I follow my heart, I'm never wrong, but sometimes when I follow my gut or my head, I'm wrong.